A question I often see asked online is, how do I release trapped emotions? How do I deal with this negativity, right? How do I get rid of this energy? Because I just want to feel good all the time. And you could get into a lot of the psychological aspects of that. We could go deeper into the pieces and parts of it. And there's a lot of good advice on the internet about how to do that. And I actually recommend doing that if you're really interested in releasing trapped emotions. But none of that stuff is really going to work for you unless you understand the core of dealing with that energy first, okay? So that you can, say, talk to those energies, have a conversation with those energies, dig around in your subconscious, dig around in your childhood patterns that are creating these insecurities for you, anger, sadness, just generally speaking, suffering, right? Feelings of loss, etc., etc. So once you're clear about the core tools for dealing with trapped emotions and releasing them, then it's going to be so much easier for you to release them when you do that kind of psychological work. And there's even a lot of really great spiritual teachers on the internet who can help you work through those things in a spiritual way from a higher perspective of consciousness. But this is kind of the ground level, like, where do I start? How do I even know where that energy is coming from and how to dispense with it? And that's kind of what this video is about. What's the foundation of that? And it's very simple. I like to keep things simple on this channel because truth is simple. And the truth of who you really are is simple too. You're a three-part triune being, body, mind, soul, right? And once you understand how those two things operate, it should be easy for you to release trapped emotions. And you never ever want to deny that energy. That's very, very important, is to avoid something that people call spiritual bypassing, right? Where you just kind of work around those emotions, or you just say, no, we're not allowed to feel sad or bad or anything. We're only allowed to be positive all the time. And maybe if I just supplant the negative energy with positive energy, that'll make me feel better. That'll solve all my problems. That'll save the day. And that's not really true. I mean, I suppose you could say part of what you're going to be doing, but the first thing you need to do, guys, is admit that those feelings are there and stop denying them. Stop denying that those feelings are there. So that's kind of step one. So whenever you have these energies present, you're feeling an emotion, you're feeling an energy, it's coming from somewhere in your past, right? Or maybe even recent events that triggered past wounds, whatever it is. The first thing you need to do is say, look, the feeling is there, I feel bad, this is really happening, and that's okay. I'm a human. I'm not failing. This is not a failure. Write that down. That's so key, guys. That should be number two, right? Step one, notice that it's there and don't deny its existence. And number two, never refer to it as a failure, right? So often what people do, and this is kind of the root of spiritual bypassing, is they look at negative emotions and they say, if I feel that way, I've failed. As a spiritual person, I know that it's only acceptable if I'm only feeling positive. And a lot of people in the spiritual community, they project that front. They front that like it's not okay to feel bad or to have bad days. Even I have bad days, guys. And as soon as I say that, there might be some people that go, well, that proves that you don't know what you're doing, Kurt, and you're not a good spiritual teacher if you aren't always feeling happy all the time. And that's just not true, guys. I do feel joy and peace most of the time, almost all the time. But guys, stuff comes up. We live on Earth. It's inevitable. Somebody's going to do something or say something that's going to trigger something. And I've got these amazing tools for dealing with it. And I'm here to share that with you. So those are the first two things, guys. Don't deny the existence of these feelings. Allow them to be there, right? Think of the emotion as a spinning wheel. You're looking at the spinning wheel going, make it stop, I'm failing, which is number two. Don't label it a failure. It's there, it's spinning, it's happening, it's going on, and it's part of the human experience. And it's okay. And that's the thing about body, mind, soul. Remember, I brought this up earlier. The mind is duality. I feel good, I feel bad. Yin, yang, I like it, I don't like it, right? And there's a purpose for that. There's a purpose for the mind. It's a calculator, right? Ones and zeros, on, off, duality, yin, yang, I like it, I don't like it, right? It's a computer. So the mind has a very important purpose. But guys, it's not what you are. It's not what you are. It's just something that you have, okay? You are the soul, which is consciousness. We're going to get to that next. Consciousness is the very awareness. It's the very self, okay? And it precedes thought. It's like, how can I be aware that there's thoughts and feelings going on in the first place, right? How can I even be aware of that to begin with? Well, let's ask a better question than that. What is the awareness? Like, you see thoughts and feelings going on, you notice that they're there. What is it that notices? Right, that's you. That's the true self. That's the soul. So the ego, which is part of the mind, it's this identity, right? The personality. And as long as you believe that you are this entity of thought and emotional patterns, you might think that it's you who's trying to figure out consciousness. It's not. You're just aware of the thoughts. There's two things going on there, right? So when you look at maybe ways that you've dealt with trapped emotions in the past, and the wheel is spinning, and I'm failing, it's not right, I need to make it stop. What lies beyond that? What comes before that, right? So now I'm kind of putting this all together. This is step number 3. Remember who you are. And gosh, maybe that should be step number 1, right? You can rearrange your list if you like. Remember who you are. You are the conscious awareness. So you are aware that a trigger is going on, okay? And you allow that trigger to be there. You allow it to exist. It's valid. It's okay, right? I had some things done to me when I was a child or something, or 5 minutes ago, that caused this trigger, right? So don't deny it. Don't deny that that energy is there. But just remember, it's not quite who you are. It's very, very painful. Now, don't use this as another form of spiritual bypassing either, right? Oh, it's not who I am, so, I'm not gonna, let that negative feeling be there. That's bad, and it's not valid. Don't do that, guys, because watch this. As long as you inhabit a physical body, you will be part metaphysical, part emotional, and part mental, okay? The true you, the true self, is the awareness underneath kind of the spacesuit of the body and the mind. So what you are depends on what part of the whole, W-H-O-L-E, you're looking at, when you're looking at it, if you're looking at it. So from the human perspective, don't deny that you are partly an emotional being as long as you're incarnated here. And the way for you to release these kind of trapped emotions is to remember that at your core you are the awareness, but don't deny the part of you that is also this duality energy of feel good, feel bad, right? And that's transcendence, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you in this video. At the core of releasing those emotions is, I suppose, transcendence, because the true self, which is consciousness, the awareness, it looks at the emotional body or the emotional self, and it does not forsake. It does not say, those negative feelings are bad, they shouldn't be allowed to exist there. They just are, guys. The universe just is duality. You're gonna feel good and bad. Eckhart Tolle gets hate mail. Eckhart Tolle, dude. I mean, not very much at all, but it's happened, guys. And I don't know, maybe the guy looks at it and he just feels a slight twinge of sorrow. I don't know, but I don't want to say he doesn't feel anything. I mean, he's spoken about this before. There was some kind of disappointment there, and he just deals with it. He's so overall full of joy. He's so not identified with the ego. He just does not derive his sense of self from the ego personality anymore at all. But when he sees his own duality energy of the mind active, he's okay with it. He says, it's just part of who I am right now, right? I'm incarnated here. That's what I am right now. And so he accepts that. Acceptance is non-resistance to what is, guys. Don't judge the mind itself for being triggered. Don't judge yourself for being triggered. Any judgment is the mind. And even judgment isn't necessarily good or bad. It's just what it is. And every time you do that, every time you take yourself out of the whole good, bad, right, wrong, I'm succeeding, I'm failing, every time you take yourself out of duality and look at things and say, it just is, that's getting you closer and closer and closer to dealing with these trapped emotions. Right there. That's the key for you. That's the key principle. Always backing away from duality. Allow those feelings to be there. Now, the last thing you need to do to release this trapped emotion is take your focus off of it. Consciousness, awareness, focus, the self, right? The true self, the soul. Direct your focus into the present using your 5 senses and allow the wheel of the emotional trigger to spin. Allow yourself to feel your feelings, okay? Even if you need to shout or kick a pillow or something, do that in private, right? But allow yourself to feel those feelings, but don't believe them. You don't have to believe them. You're the believer, the soul, the self. Take your focus off of them. Use your 5 senses to place yourself in your surroundings and let the energy slowly wind down. And just keep doing that over and over and over again, remembering who you are, allowing yourself to feel, never ever getting sucked in to those trapped emotions, never ever succumbing to the idea that you're a failure for being emotional. You're human. You're not. You got to deprogram that. You got to get out of that spiritual bypassing kind of modality, guys. You're not a failure if there's a trigger. And actually, if you work it like this for long enough, if you make a lifestyle out of dealing with trapped emotions in this way, after a while, you'll get so good at it, you'll just feel at peace all the time. And there's some other things you can do too. There's a couple of videos on my channel. There's one called Shut Down the Emotional Roller Coaster. And there's another one called Raise Your Vibration. These are both recent uploads, some tools and things that you can use to try to get out of that whole modality of the ups and downs of life. Anything that you can do to feel more even and stable and peaceful. And remember, duality is not bad. Feelings are not bad. Feelings can be very pleasant. They can be a lot of fun. There's absolutely nothing wrong with experiencing emotions at all. But wouldn't it be nice if we could experience less of the, I guess kind of negative emotions, maybe more joy, more peace? You're coming from a place of consciousness. So really what I'm telling you in this part of the video is to release trapped emotions. You're really going to be trying to make a lifestyle out of this. So that's the 5th thing, is to try to kind of make a lifestyle out of this, right? Like really get good at this and learn about the ego. Learn about how that thing operates and learn how to dig into your past and understand how that thing got the way it is. Use your consciousness to look at that and be okay with it. Bless the process. Bless all the things you've learned along your path, and release those emotions by being okay with being a human. It's not a failure to be a human, guys. So remember who you are and accept. Remember who you are and accept, which is non-duality. It's always the non-duality. It's the consciousness. So I hope you found this video helpful and useful. Please give me a like and hit subscribe. If you're new here, I'll be back next week. Bye.